Hey guys, welcome back to General Chemistry. In this video, we're going to combine the skills that we learned in the previous two. So we learned about Avogadro's number, we learned about molar mass. Now we're going to combine them into one big problem. So let's consider the following problem. Calculate the number of atoms of calcium contained in 1.28 grams. So something we might want to know. I walk over to the scale in the lab and I weigh out 1.28 grams of calcium. And I think to myself, I wonder how many atoms that is. Well, the conversions that we talked about grams to moles. And we talked about things like atoms and molecules. So we talked about things to moles. Did we talk about anything that would get us straight from grams to atoms? No, we didn't, right? And spoiler alert, it doesn't exist. So there's no way for us to go directly from grams to things. So we're going to have to take a detour, and we're going to detour through the one thing that connects both of these, and that is moles. So we know a conversion that gets us from grams to moles, and that's the molar mass. Remember, 1 mole equals X number of grams, right? And we know a conversion that gets us from moles to atoms. That was Avogadro's number. So 1 mole equals 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd things. In this case, atoms. Okay. So what we're going to have to do here is we're going to have to do a two-step conversion. We're going to have to first go from grams to moles, and then we're going to have to go from moles to things. If you notice this map here, you can think about it as a map, has double-sided arrows. So we don't necessarily have to go from left to right, right? We could go the other way, and we'll look at an example of that as well. So we can go from things to moles and then moles to grams. That would be fine too. So that's what the double-sided arrows are. As you are getting proficient at these problems, I highly, highly, highly recommend you have a map like this close to you, near you, in your notes, pulled up somewhere, because it will make getting through these problems a much easier process. Okay. All right, so calculate the number of atoms of calcium that are contained in 1.28 grams of calcium. So every unit conversion problem that we've ever done, no matter if it's one step or two, we've always started with the information that's given. So that's going to be the first thing that I write down. 1.28 grams of calcium. Start my train tracks. I'm going to put grams of calcium down here because I know I'm trying to get rid of that. And here's where the map is helpful. If I go back to the problem's going to say, hey, go to atoms. But I can't. I can't do that in one step. So here's where the map is helpful. You are here. And the first step is moles. So that's how I know to write mole on the top. Okay. So then we're going to do this step. Remember, our equality is 1 mole equals X grams. So 1 mole of calcium. I go to my periodic table and I see that it has a molar mass of 40.078. So I'm going to go ahead and knock out this first step. So multiply across the top, divide by the bottom. So I have 1.28 times 1 divided by 40.078. And my answer spits out as this. I still have to consider sig figs along the way. So we go back to this first quadrant. I can keep 3 sig figs. So from this step, I get 0.0319, and my unit is moles of calcium. That's step 1. Are we finished? No, we're not. Problem isn't asking about moles. The problem is asking about atoms. So we need to complete the process here. To do a 2-step unit conversion, you can continue one long train track, and I can show you that later as we get more proficient. What a lot of students like to do is they like to start a new train track. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your answer from the first step and you're going to start a new problem. You'll probably do it lower on your paper. I have run out of room, so I'm going to go to the top of the screen here. So I'm going to start a new problem up here with my answer. So 0.0319 moles of calcium. Okay. Draw my train track with little to no thought. I'm going to put my unit of mole down here. Now I got to pick my head up and see. Okay, I am here. I'm trying to go to atoms or things. So that's going to be my unit on the top. Okay. And then our equality here is 1 mole equals 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd. In this case, it's atoms. So 1 is going to go with mole. 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd is going to go with atoms, and we can solve. Multiply across the top, divide by the bottom, so 0.0319 times 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd. And our answer to the correct number of significant figures, 1.92 times 10 to the 22nd atoms of calcium. Does that answer make sense? You always want to ask yourself this. And it does. So when we're counting individual atoms, we would expect that number to be ridiculously big. If I were to forget the exponent part and I were to record 1.92 atoms of calcium, does that make any sense? No. How do you weigh out 1.92 atoms? Like, you couldn't even see that, right? So that'll help you from forgetting that exponent piece. It'll make sure that you multiplied when you were supposed to multiply instead of divide. So always ask yourself, does this make sense? Did I do my math correctly? I hope you guys found this helpful.